your coach Laura here, certified personal trainer and Pilates instructor. Today I'm going to be taking you through a short booty focus, hip focus workout that you can do as a warm up for your run if you're looking for a glute activation, or you can use it also after your run to just light up those glutes, hips, and hamstrings, inner thighs a little bit more. I have my mat and a box as well. You don't have to have a box. I like it just because it enhances some of the glute and hamstring work, and we will need it for one inner thigh exercise, but I'll also show you a variation where you don't need the box if you don't happen to have a box, a bench, or something to kind of elevate your feet. So go ahead, grab your mat, and let's get started. Starting laying down on the mat, we're going to take our feet about hip width apart on the box or your bench, and you're going to reach your hands upwards towards the sky. They can be palms facing in or palms facing away from you. Pull the belly button away from the front of your waistband, tuck the tailbone underneath you, and you're going to start to roll your spine upwards towards the sky, and then melt your spine down bone by bone by bone, back downwards towards the ground. The more that you exaggerate it, the more you're going to feel that lower back stretch. We're going to curl up again, and then roll down bone by bone by bone, and continue through just like that. I did just finish a shorter run. I did about 3 miles this morning, and so my leggies are already a little bit tired, but I want to get this in because I think it's important to do some focus glute work 2-3 times a week. Focus group being like accessory work that is different from your squats, your lunges, hamstring deadlifts, things like that. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below why you think that's important. We're gonna go for about 2 more times. We're doing around 10 to 12. And on our last one, we are gonna pause those hips upwards at the sky. Pausing those hips up at the sky. Now from here, now it's a hinge. We're gonna hinge the hips down a little bit and then press up. Little hinge down and exhale, lift. Hands still at the sky. Unless you need a little bit more support for your glutes, you can put them down onto the ground. Then you can push into your hands a little bit, but that does take a little bit of that tension, that work off of your glutes. We're gonna be here for 4 more times. Keep hugging that belly in to help support that spine. And then roll your spine down bone by bone by bone. Now from here, we're gonna go into some single leg work. So we're gonna keep that right leg onto your box. That left leg is gonna come into a tabletop position. And once you have that leg into a tabletop position, we're gonna go on that right leg for 8 times. And then hips come down. This one, I do more of a hip hinge. So my belly still is hugging in towards my lower back, but I'm no longer rolling my spine downwards towards the ground. So it's a little bit more like a hip hinge, traditional bridge. After our 8, switch to your left foot. Left foot goes on, right foot comes up. I keep my top floating foot flexed. And then from here, once again, exhale. You don't have to use the box for your single leg. I think that single leg bridges are hard enough by themselves, but if you want that extra elevation, it definitely is going to enhance your glute and hamstring work a little bit more as you're a little bit more on a decline and you have more up to lift your hips. And for me, I feel like I get a little bit better of a hip stretch as well, thigh stretch and hip extension. After 8, we're gonna roll ourselves on down and rest the feet down. Take a little stretch of those hamstrings if you need it, and then rock yourself up. We're gonna get rid of the box for a little bit. And then from here, we're gonna get into a side lying clam. So I want one of your elbows to come down underneath your shoulder, and you're gonna stack your knee bones into a bent position so that we have a bent position through the knee and the hip joint. From here, we're gonna go into a side lying clam with a side plank. So from here, lift the hips up, open the clam, and then lower yourself down. We're gonna go for 10. That palm stays down and connected into the ground. You want to have that shoulder pulling down and away from the ear for the bottom side. We're working our oblique on the bottom side, the hip on the bottom side, as well as working that top hip to open in our clam. You could, if you wanted to, add a band to this. I tried to make this travel friendly. Bands are also travel friendly as well. One more time. You're gonna hold your hips down at the ground, and now we're gonna go internal rotation for that top hip. Top leg is gonna go up and then lower it down. So now you keep those knees glued together as we're moving the leg. I'm still active through my bottom side shoulder so that I'm still holding passively in that side plank. 2 more times for 10. And then after our last one, I'm gonna go ahead and straighten that top leg, reset my shoulder, and now I'm gonna go for a straight leg lever lift. The leg lifts up and now lower down. As that leg lifts up, I like to have my hand just above my hip to make sure that my hip is not hiking up. I try to keep my rib and my hip away from one another, and that puts the work a little bit more into my top hip. And you can also think about slightly rotating that big toe down. And after 10, this is when you're gonna use the box. A variation for the next exercise that we're gonna get into, I would say lay down all the way onto your side, kickstand that hand in front of your belly, and step over your bottom leg. Now your bottom leg is gonna be the one that's moving. Bottom leg lifts, bottom leg lowers. If you do have a box, then what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead, come up and grab the box and put it at the end of your mat for me. Take your top leg on top of the box. Your bottom leg is gonna go into a bent leg position. From here, Copenhagen planks, we're gonna use that top inner thigh to try to lift up. So you press into that top leg, lift up, and then lower it right back down. You're still working that bottom shoulder. Exhale, lift up, and lower it right back down. I don't know if you can see, have a little baby toe onto the floor because I'm still working on strengthening my top inner thigh to help me lift up into this position. Eventually, I am gonna wanna take my bottom leg up with me in a bent leg position so that the whole thing is floating. Oh boy, 9, one more time, 10. Good news, we've got 2 sides, so we gotta do that whole side series on the other side as well. I'm gonna go ahead and change my mat again because I feel like it gives you guys a little bit of a better angle to see if you wanna take a peek at form. And I'm just gonna move my box to the other side so that it's ready for me. So coming into our side plank variation first, we have our knees in a bent position here. Belly button is in, your hand can go to wherever it's comfortable for you. We already have this bottom shoulder down, locked and loaded. From here, lift the hips up, clam at the same time, lower down. Lift and open, and resist it on down. I still am working my front abdominals as I'm trying to pull my navel in and away from the front of my pants. But it also is mainly focusing on that bottom side, bottom oblique, bottom hip to help support us in that top plank position. After 10, we're gonna lay down towards the ground, not lay down, we're still propped up. Your knees are now gonna stay connected and we go into that internal rotation. So top leg, knees stay connected, we lift the heel up and then lower the leg down. Whew, I'm already breathless, you guys. I'm moving around a lot. I think it's because I just finished my run. After 10, we're gonna go ahead and lengthen the top leg. Top leg is straight. We still have that side plankish position. Top leg comes up, top leg lowers down. Long lever lift. I still try to lift my bottom waist up and away from the floor, and I still try to support my belly in and up into me. I like my hand on my hip so that I can keep that hip depressing down. I also sometimes like to think about reaching my leg away from me, like someone's pulling and yanking on it. After 10, as a reminder, our variation, if you don't have the box, is to step your top foot over. That just gets it out of the way, and you're gonna lift that bottom leg up. If you do have the box, we're gonna go ahead and grab the box, put it back onto the mat, or scoot forward if you don't wanna move the box. Our top leg is gonna come on. I like to get a little bit more of my leg on. I feel like it helps me. Probably eventually I'm gonna scoot a little bit more towards the end of the mat. So I like to put a little bit more of my calf on it as well. From here, brace the abdominal wall. Exhale, we lift up and lower. I try not to put too much weight into my bottom leg if you're using it as a prop, so that I'm working more of my inner thigh of my top leg. So my knee comes up with me, and then lower down. Exhale, lift up, and then lower down. Oh my gosh, that was 3 only. One last time. And then after your 10, you can either repeat this cycle all over again for a second round, which actually that was my second round doing this with you guys, or you could just be done, dusted, go for your run, start your cool down, start whatever it is that you've got planned for the rest of your day. This is definitely a little bit more of a spur of the moment video. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you would like to see more of this kind of authentic type of videos, let me know in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up. Lets me know that you like kind of more of this raw footage type of stuff where I'm doing my workouts in real time with you. And if you're not already subscribed to my page, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you can keep seeing more of this content. This is a workout that I do as I'm training for my runs, and hopefully you enjoy it as you're training for your runs as well. Have a good one, and I'll see you in my next video.